So we lead off with Shohei going 6 for 6, 10 RBIs, 3 homers, 2 steals, and now 51-51 club. And you do that on the same night. You get your stolen base, you get your home runs, and maybe it's the greatest game in baseball history. Now, there's been a lot of incredible performances, but it's on the short list because before this, I didn't think about taking inventory of what is the greatest performance in baseball history. The game itself. He's going for 50-50, which has never been done before. You clinch a playoff spot in the process. How this season started, before the season started, we didn't even know how good he was going to be, how healthy he was going to be. We knew he wasn't going to pitch. He wasn't going to play the outfield. He was just going to hit. And then I think the over-under for him, home runs, might have been around 38 or 39. Well, he blew past that. And then the stolen bases. I don't think he'll ever have a season like this again. And it's not because he's not talented enough or maybe hitting his prime or past his prime or whatever it might be. It's because if he pitches, he's not going to be running as much as he has. This might be one of those statistical anomalies for him, hitting the 50 and then 50 stolen bases as well. And, you know, even he was surprised putting up these numbers this year. But if he goes back to pitching, and I talked to Dave Roberts about this yesterday, about maybe Ohtani pitching this season in the postseason because they need some healthy arms. So that'll be coming up a little bit later on. I just don't see Ohtani. There are guys who ran and then all of a sudden they stopped running. And usually it'll be, you know, guys who hit home runs. But you'll see some of these guys who will put up, 40, 50 stolen bases, 60 stolen bases, and then they just don't run after that. Now, you're also going to get feedback here of, well, should a designated hitter win the MVP? I think we are all in agreement Shohei is bigger than a DH. He's the most valuable player in baseball. We haven't seen this. He lived up to the hype coming off surgery. What happened with his former interpreter? I mean, there's been a lot. And the pressure, you're going from the American League to the National League. It's your first year in a Dodger uniform. He's worldwide. And he's more than lived up. He's surpassed the expectations, which is, it's incredible to just think that. But, once again, we didn't think there would be a 50-50, but then all of a sudden it became a reality, and he lived up to it. Here is the call, his 50th home run yesterday afternoon.
And the pitch coming to Shohei Ohtani. He swings, hits a drive to left. This ball's back. There it is. Number 50. The first player in the history of Major League Baseball to have a 50-50 season. He is incredible.
Yes, he is. But once again, if you listen to the sound of the ball leaving the bat, nobody hits balls like that. Play it again, Marvin. Just listen to the sound.
And the pitch coming to Shohei Ohtani. He swings.
It's Plus, the game was in the afternoon. It was a 4:40 start in Miami. It's one of those, and Paulie said, this is sort of like Wilt Chamberlain in Hershey, Pennsylvania, scoring 100. Now, back then, nobody saw it. You were either there and you saw it or you didn't. Shohei, you had to find this. And then he had already homered twice when I was like, I don't even know, is it ESPN Plus? I'm trying to find this, and all of a sudden, by the time I found it, he had already done all the damage there. You go 6 for 6, 3 homers. You join the 50-50 club. That's a day. I mean, that's a week for some people. But is it the greatest game in baseball history? Now, you could go back to Don Larson throwing a perfect game in the World Series. Okay? I mean, can Ohtani's game be better? Like, that's a perfect game for a hitter. That's a perfect game, literally a perfect game for a player, a pitcher. I might have to take it off the board, but if I looked at regular season games, I don't know if anybody has surpassed this. Plus, you're in a pennant stretch here. You clinch a playoff spot. The pressure's there, and you go 50-50 in the same game. I'd like to find, if somebody has a suggestion on this game or these games, these performances were better, I'm all ears today. But I never thought I'd be going, what's the greatest performance in baseball history? I didn't think we would be doing that today. TireRack.com brings us the first hour, the official tire expert of the DP show. Go to TireRack.com/Dan. Try the Tire Decision Guide. See the full lineup of Yokohama tires, special offers, free road hazard protection, mobile tire installation. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be. I did love this. Skip Shoemaker is the Marlins manager, and he was asked why the Marlins didn't walk Ohtani.
I think that's a bad move, baseball-wise, karma-wise, baseball god-wise. You go after him and see if you can get him out. And I think out of respect for the game, we're going to go after him.
I loved it. Now, if it was a game that was deciding if you were going to make the playoffs, if there was more of a postseason attachment to this, then he would have approached this differently. But I think what he's saying is, look, you go after him. You don't want to go against baseball karma where you're pitching around somebody. And they had every reason to pitch around him. You don't want to be, who did he do it against? The Marlins. And he hit 3 bombs. When the pitcher just doesn't even look around, doesn't turn around and look. It's just the sound of it, They just know. Here is his 51st home run.
Swing and a drive, deep right field. He has done it. It's the first time Ohtani in his career has had a 3-home run game. Can you believe this? 10 runs batted in for Ohtani. That's also a career high. 51 home runs for Shohei Ohtani.
Courtesy of AM 570, LA Sports, Dodgers Radio Network. Once again, the sound of it. It's just a crisp pop. And I don't do exit velocity. I don't do any of that. I just know, wow. And that's what it was yesterday. It was wow. And it's unfortunate I didn't get to see it in real time because I forgot that it was on at 4:40. And then all of a sudden I'm getting text messages. I'm like, oh my God, I got to find this. And then all of a sudden by the time I found it, like ESPN Plus, and I'm like, nothing to see here other than one of the great performances in baseball history. Pretty incredible. We'll have a poll question. We got our play of the day, stat of the day, all of that forthcoming. Yes, Paulie?
And it's even wild that Ohtani stayed in the game to get 51. He could easily have been given a break. I think the guy's missed 3 games this entire season.
Yes. Yeah.
He's not load managing, but you could have said, he did history. Let's let him rest a couple innings.
Well, okay, I said to Fritzy, let's reach out to Dave Roberts. I want to talk to Dave before Ohtani and the Dodgers go back home, and that's when they set the record. And I'm thinking, all right, you know what? They're playing the Marlins, and, maybe he gets to 50 in one of the categories. But talking to Dave to talk about Ohtani's season, and I thought Ohtani was going to break the record back home against Colorado. So we'll play the interview with Dave Roberts that we conducted yesterday before the game, and that'll be coming up late next hour. All right, poll question today there, Seton O'Connor. What are you thinking? We'll get to the football there. My Jets with a big win against the Patriots last night as they win it 24-3, and Aaron Rodgers looked like Aaron Rodgers. Yes, Seton.
More impressive 50-50. Shohei Ohtani with home runs and stolen bases. Albert Bell, home runs and doubles. He's the only person to ever do that.
Okay, until you told me that, I didn't realize that Albert Bell had done that. So how big a deal is that?
I don't know that ultimately either of them is really that big of a deal, but...
Wait, you don't think what Ohtani did is a big deal?
I mean, if it was a different era, Ricky Henderson would have been 100-100. Come on.
Now, I do think...
I'm just defending the great stolen base king.
Look, Ronald Acuna Jr. III had 41 homers and 73 stolen bases. So it is possible that somebody else could do this. But, God, Ohtani does it in a way that's elegant. Like there's a velvet hammer to him. He just looks regal when he's up there. and then it sounds violent when he swings. But do you have any other poll questions there?
There aren't a ton of people. I think the most doubles in a season is like 60 something.
Yeah.
So to hit 50 in a season is pretty good.
Okay.
Whereas getting 50 stolen bases compared to, the record is 138, something like that.
Yeah. But to do
The difference between those two numbers, what I'm saying, is gigantic.
well, okay. If you're hitting home runs, and if you don't hit a home run, you can hit a double. The difference between stealing a base and hitting a home run, far greater than hitting a double or hitting a home run. I understand what you're saying. The separation of 51 stolen bases to 138 is huge.
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody cares about Albert Bell's. Now, Albert Bell had a couple of great seasons, but I wouldn't factor that in as a season better than Shohei Ohtani's. And Ohtani surpassed every expectation this year. And the expectations weren't as high as they've been when he was with the Angels, but he did it. And then all of a sudden there was pressure on him. Now could he do it? And you do it in that fashion, that's storybook stuff. I mean, it really is.
Yeah, it's almost like the way he did it, having a night like that is more impressive than the fact that he did it. That was a hell of a way to make that happen.
Yeah, you don't back into it.
Yeah, that was...
It's like, is he going to claw and scratch his way to getting to 50-50? No, he's not. No. And then he hits his 50th, and all of a sudden you're like, all right, maybe Dave Roberts takes him. Gone. Another home run.
What was that? Dave Roberts takes him.
That's the sound it makes. Actually, that's the Todd's sound.
Did I say Todd just?
Yeah, Todd does that. Yes, Paul?
I was trying to think of a football comp for what Ohtani did last night, and it might be like you run for 2,000 yards in a season as a running back, and on the day you get it, you also break the single-game rushing record on that day.
Okay.
I know it's a little apples and oranges, but it's so wild that he had the best game of his or any other life on the same night as the record. It's like when Roger Maris hit his 61st home run, my guess is he went 1 for 3 or 2 for 4. He didn't have 10 RBIs and 2 more home runs that day.
Yeah, if somebody's got a comp on this, then I'd love to hear it. And maybe it's in other sports. Maybe it's... I mean, I actually thought of Tiger in 2000 when he boat raced everybody. I mean, it wasn't fair. But we expected Tiger to be great. Ohtani was coming off surgery. His best friend was stealing money from him. Wasn't going to be able to pitch, just DH. Yeah. Yes, Marvin.
I'm going to go with the Kobe 81-point game because how many NBA regular season games do you actually remember? And it was the same kind of circumstance. Local TV on a Sunday afternoon against the Raptors.
Yeah.
And everyone still remembers that game.
Yeah.
A regular season game.
Okay. But we're talking about the greatest performance in baseball history. That's what I want to hear.
Mark Whitten.
4 home runs?
Yep.
Hard-hitting Mark Whitten? Okay. But he wasn't reaching a milestone, though. I don't think there's a comp. I don't. No one's ever... When you go in and there's the 50-50 club and you look at the guest list, there's only one name on there. That's it. Table for one, Mr. Ohtani. And he's going to be in there all by himself.
For a while.
Yes. Yeah.
Like you talk about records I don't expect to see again. You explained it perfectly. If he did pitch this season, he probably has 45 homers and 30 stolen bases. Maybe. But because of the non-pitching thing, the unexpected benefit is they could let him loose.